So thank you for taking the time to be with me and be with us this morning. Today's masterclass is going to be on motivational gifts, something that I am truly passionate about. I've spent 23 years studying um, and still forms a huge part of my coaching practice with everybody that I work with. I was reading an interesting article by Gallup, and I'll drop the link into it later for those of you that work with others around their careers. It's very helpful. Said that 80% of senior managers and leaders believe that a significant part of what they do, they don't enjoy, they don't feel they're any good at, and question the value it brings to their organizations. The same report said, junior managers in their, what do you call them, in their sort of quarterly reviews were told to focus far more on improving their weaknesses than developing their strengths. And when you're told to develop your weaknesses, it's a recipe for disaster. I'm not saying there isn't room for improvement, but we need to recognize there's only a level we can get to things we're not gifted at, which is why I'd like to talk about motivational gifts. Understanding them is the key to unlocking the door for us to truly love what we do, be really good at it, and create even greater impact for the people that we serve. And there are 7 motivational gifts. I'll just quickly mention them now, and then we'll go into them more in detail later. And so you don't need to make lots of notes. I will drop a workbook into the group later on today. I just need to I've been backing up all my files and now I have no idea where they are. But once I found them, I'll drop it into the group. The 7 motivational gifts are teaching, perception, encouragement, administration, or what might more accurately called management, giving, serving, and compassion. And motivational gifts are clusters of talents. Talents being, I tell you what, if you've got a pen there, draw a triangle, and you would have 4 sort of horizontal lines in the triangle. So you got 4 boxes within that triangle. And on the bottom, in the bottom box, the foundation is clusters of talents. And talents are those things that we're good at and we enjoy. If you're good at it and don't enjoy it, it's probably not a talent, it's just a learned skill. But if you enjoy doing something and you're not necessarily that good at it, but you have the capacity to become good at it, that's a talent as well. Then the second box above that is what we would call vocational preferences, or a simpler way of saying that is natural inclinations. If our talent is what we do, our inclinations are how we do it, how we want to use that talent, in what situations and settings. And then above that, our third box would be values. This is the meaning we derive from using those talents through our inclinations. And then lastly, at the top of the pyramid is what we would call archetypes. Now, I'm not an expert on archetypes, but these are the roles we play in life. So we can have talents to do things, but an archetype is the way we personally show up in the world using our gifts and talents. So here's an example of it. So A very common motivational gift is the gift of encouragement, sometimes called the gift of exhortation. And I know Wes has this gift. And so the talent part of that motivational gift at the bottom are communication. It's the rate of idea flow. It's the ability to come up with lots of ideas in a short space of time. It's also built on the talent of pitch, that ability to be able to, in music, say the difference between an F sharp and a B flat, or, you know, Wesley interviews hundreds of people every year, and he's able, you know, to hear the intonation in someone's voice as to whether they're speaking the truth, maybe speaking lies, what they're passionate about, what they're avoiding. You're able to pick up on that. Great coaches can do it. Great counselors and therapists. Anyone listening has that. But the second box is then what we call the vocational preference. And so people that are high on the gift of encouragement and exhortation have a vocational preference, an inclination to work with people, but not all people. Often people that are focused on the future, focused on improving their lives, wanting to move from A to B. They have a goal, there's something they're wanting to achieve. But people with this gift often have a preference for working with ideas. They're fascinated by ideas, often have an interest in psychology. And while not universally true, they often have a preference for extroversion. They have values of excellence, honesty, and transformation. A lot of comedians and salespeople and workshop leaders, looks like you got a lion there. Just see the spots on there. But particularly, you know, comedians have this, and speakers have this ability to think on their feet, to come up with lots of ideas. But you often find comedians are some of the most openly honest people on the planet. They are willing to talk about their struggles and the things that they fail at. But then lastly, people that have the motivational gift of encouragement often show up in the archetype of the magician, the jester, the maverick, or the encouragement. And some of these come from Carl Jung's work. And if you're interested in it, you can just type in archetypes and you will go down an endless rabbit hole for the rest of your life learning about these things. But by and large, I think it's very useful. And so the archetype of the magician there is the ability to make things happen. The jester is that ability to bring joy and laughter and life to people. Often people high on this gift are mavericks. They go through life dancing to their own tune. They show up following nobody else's path. But I think the main archetype is that of an encourager, that ability to come alongside people that are struggling and to help them on that journey. And motivational gifts are how we behave in every situation. So, you know, we understand Wes has this gift. I suspect others do. And if we were to parachute Wes into a different nation, into a different situation, and into a crowd of people, he will show up as an encourager, regardless of what's going on. And when we understand this, this is the key to everything. So when we understand that this is how we are wired, this is what we are supposed to do, This is what we are inspired to do. This is what we are inclined to do. What we need to do is get out of our own way. We need to give ourselves permission to be this person and to show up. A phrase that I was thinking of and came to me this morning: we need to shine outrageously and unapologetically. Something I'm not always very good at. There's always that little voice on the back that goes, what will people think of you? But when we understand our motivational gifts, we can just go, shut up to the voice, show up unapologetically, and then the magic begins to happen. The people that we're called to serve, we will create greater impact in their lives. More people will want to work with us. Greater opportunities will flow to us. It's magic. And it's the key to understanding and fulfilling our life's purpose. So let's just quickly dive into those 7 gifts. But if there are any questions or comments, concerns, just please feel free to unmute and speak away. No, that's okay. So the 7 gifts. So just in order as I teach them rather than in any sense of importance. They are as we said, the teacher, or teaching, the archetype of the teacher. And this has a vocational preference to working with information and data, or as our Australian friends say, data. They have a motivation to learn. They go through life learning. They're permanently curious about everything that they see. They have, so each of the gifts has really 2 parts to it. One is an internalizing part and the other is an externalizing part. So the internalizing part of the motivational gift of teaching is that ability to learn and research, to be able to, so people are really high on this, can read a book and they soak it all in. But the other part of the externalizing kicks in, and they are great synthesizers. They're able to read that book and go, you know what, 80% of the usefulness of that book only comes from these 20%. It comes from these 2 ideas. And they're able to really quickly synthesize down to those 2 ideas. And then they put them away in their store cupboard of information. And then they're able to very often break that information down and offer it to people in such a way that they can learn the most from it. The second gift is that of perception. And this is a vocational preference to solve problems, and often intuitively. It really is the intuitive gift. It's the ability to see, hear, and feel that which isn't being communicated directly. So people that are high on this, you know, when they're talking to people, they're able to see behind the veil, behind the curtain. They'll hear somebody say a sentence, but they will just intuitively know that's not what's really going on. People that are high in this gift can hear somebody say 3 things over one conversation or over a year, and they're able to connect the dots. They're able to see the thread, the golden thread that brings all of those things together. They're able to see the patterns and connect the dots. Often people that are high on this gift have an interest in spiritual things, and often have a propensity and a desire to help people around this, meet their spiritual needs. What is a spiritual need? A spiritual need is that desire to be loved and accepted, to be seen for who you are, and to be able to come to a place of wholeness and authenticity. This is not religion. The third motivational gift is the gift of exaltation or encouragement, which we talked about. But I'll just recap again. It's a vocational preference to work with people and ideas. It has talents around communication. It's the fundamental talent in this is the rate of idea flow. People that are high on this have a natural inclination towards psychology and to help people meet their psychological needs, purpose, direction. So people who are high on this, will often make great coaches because they're able to understand the psychological blocks people have to moving forward. The gift of administration, I'm old enough to hate that word because it just brings up a picture of me stuck in an office behind a filing cabinet, dealing with paper. But I think it's really more about management. It's that ability to bring order out of chaos. It's the ability to manage people, projects, and tasks. People that are really high on this are able have this brilliant gift and ability to work alongside visionary leaders to make those ideas happen. They are great strategists. They are able to figure out what we need to do to get from A to B, what might stop us, what resources we need. They're able then to communicate that, enroll people into it, play people to their strengths, figure out, are we on track? And if not, why and what we need to do next. Everything I am not, or I have a little bit of it. The fourth gift is what we call the gift of giving. And I should say the titles for these, I think, it may be time for an upgrade on the titles. My understanding of all of this is based on the work of Don and Katie Fortune, who wrote the book Discovering Your God-Given Motivational Gifts. I think Don has passed now. I don't know if Katie's still alive, but I was trained directly by them. And I always had this desire to honor the language they've used. But life in society moves on, and some of this language is maybe a little archaic, so maybe we can change it. But the gift of giving has a vocational preference around creativity, to be able to bring together resources and create something greater than the sum of the individual parts. People that are high on this often make great artists, and using that as a very broad term, but it's also the fundamental gift in truly great entrepreneurs. They're able to see opportunities, communicate it, bring together the resources, and create something greater than the sum of the component parts. I'm always amazed by an artist like Picasso can bring together a sheet of paper, 3 colored pencils, and in 5 minutes create something that sold for like 50 or 100,000 pounds. But yet the intrinsic value of it is like $1, a piece of paper and a couple of old pens. I've tried, no one's buying my artwork anytime soon. But there is also this other sense of this gift that people are high on this. Often they have a deep value and desire to give something to people, communities, the planet, or the world. They are driven. There's something they want to give. And often you find this with artists, that there is a message, there is something coming through their work they're wanting to give to the world. And that's why often people high on this struggle, because they need to balance the sense of, well, how do I market my work? How do I make a living out of it? It's the ikigai bringing together of that. The sixth gift is what we would call I forgot what it is. Serving. This is uh, this is really a kinesthetic gift. It's a vocational gift to work with your hands or your body, and often objects as well. So with hands, you might see somebody who's, a jewelry maker or a furniture maker, a bricklayer, someone that likes to work with their hands, or a body, a dancer, somebody involved in sports, an athlete. They want to use their hands or their body, and often it comes with this combination of working with objects, and that could be tools. People that enjoy IT but really want to physically grab a hold of the computers, take them apart, rebuild them, connect things. You see, you see this working of the hands with objects together. Somebody in our group, Nona, I mean, she likes to do jewelry, and really, really beautiful jewelry as well. Encourage you to have a look at it. And the last gift, and possibly the most common gift, is the gift of compassion. And this is an ability to work with people. It's a vocational preference to work with people. And again, not all people, but people that are struggling today and are struggling emotionally, often because of the past and the pain of the past. And this is an ability to sense people's emotions, often to be able to feel people's emotions. And it comes with the desire to want to come alongside people, often metaphorically or physically, to put your arm around them, to be there for them, and to have tremendous empathy for them in that place. Some people who are high on this gift often end up training as counselors and therapists, and may have an ability to offer a level of advice and skill. But people that are high on this gift, just through their presence alone, are able to bring healing into the lives of other people. What I would say is that every single one of us has a percentage of each of the 7 gifts. We do, which is why all of us can put our mind to something and do something, which is why even I, under great pressure, can do administration. But after an hour of it, I'm bored and I'm sending Wes memes that I found on the internet to try, because I'm just bored. I have the ability to come alongside people in their pain, but if I stay in that place, I find I'm no longer useful for people, because the exhorter in me wants to then try and fix those people. And that's the last thing they need. They just want someone to see them, to hear them, accept them. And I can do that, but it's not my natural inclination. It's a learned behavior, which is why if ever I say I'm going to train to be a counselor, tie me down to a chair for the sake of those people that I might end up helping, because I can do it. It's not my natural inclination. So here's something else. Most people, 50 to 60% of the American population, where this work was birthed and tested by the American Association of Psychiatrists, or the American Psychiatrist Association, forgive me, I can't fully remember, but it was said 50 to 60% of most of people have one strong gift. And 50% of those have the gift of compassion. It really shows what is most needed in the world at any given time. Then 20 to 30% of people have 2 strong giftings. So one strong gifting, see a fella, one strong gifting is the sense that there is a very specific work that you are called to, are able to do, and have the ability to do for long periods of time. And But when you have two gifts, it's more of a sense of a calling to a field, a body of work in which you can excel at. So often you find people that might be high on the gift of exhortation and encouragement and teaching, and they make great coaches. They are able to, through their understanding of psychology, through the storehouse of knowledge they've got, they're able to offer people stuff. They make great teachers. They really do. You often see people that are high in compassion and encouragement. And what it does is it brings them out from the outer edges of their gifts to be able to help people. So rather than just helping people in like a Tony Robbins style who are focused on achieving 100 goals this year, and people that are working with people that are really, really struggling. And that requires, both of those require unique giftings, but it brings it in, and often they're able to help people in a unique way. So we see this, and we see the sense of, yeah, we see these gifts. And then we have people that maybe 10% of the population have two or three gifts. And that's really unique. And that's, and then I would say there are some people, maybe less than 5% of the population, that have four strong gifts. Very, very unusual. What you normally find, it's three strong gifts and a fourth gift that gives a level of underpinning to things. And the sense there is that people who have those three strong gifts and potentially with a fourth underpinning, it's no longer that the gift is flowing through them, but they are the gift. And it's a sense of what we might loosely call a true spiritual calling. And in the Bible, Jesus said something really, or Paul said something really interesting about Jesus when he said, when Jesus ascended on high, he gave gifts to the world. And these gifts were the apostle, the prophet, the evangelist, the pastor, and the teacher. These were unique individuals whose role was twofold. One was to build people up, and secondly was to help people discover their place on earth. Now, I'm just saying that as potential evidence of that sense of spiritual calling. But in every, and that's sort of my historic tradition, but in every tradition, there is an understanding of those people that are called. And it's really interesting, if you don't mind me just going off at a slight tangent at the moment. There is a lot of ancient prophecies that are talking about that there comes a time in Earth's history when it is struggling so much that even creation itself is crying out for the children of promise. Some people call that the rainbow tribe. Some people call it the children of God, the called ones. But it comes in different flavors and languages. But this ancient prophecies are the sense that when things get really bad, and I think there may be evidence to say we've hit that point now, that everybody on the earth will recognize that our current systems of thinking and behavior aren't enough. And so the prophecy is that will happen. And at the same time, God will begin to shine a light on those people that he has called to bring hope and healing into this situation. And they will begin to awaken to their calling, and they will then bring hope and healing. And I've explored that in a number of traditions, and it fills me with profound hope that in this time of profound chaos and upheaval in the world, with all of the pronouncements that are coming out of America at the moment are causing upheaval, things that we have put our hope in, no longer serving it, our institutions are creaking, and some might argue are broken and no longer serving us. Gives me great hope to think that right now, all over the planet, there are people who are beginning to awaken to the sense of bringing hope and healing to the people and places that they feel inspired to do. So, motivational gifts. I will take a pause there. Not sure it's really possible to teach it all in 30 minutes, but I've done my best. As you hear that, what gift did you feel resonated? Maybe, hey, that could be me. Don't be shy.
To be honest, for me, I believe there's a little bit of each one of them.
Yes, well, that's true. There is.
So, but I think that they're sort of like in the same perception. I mean, yeah, percentage somehow. It's not actually one of them more than another. But yeah, I mean, I think that I have a really good combination between all of them, to be honest.
I hear that a lot. We do have a percentage of all of them. We do. What I do know is that we are not strong in all 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if we try to be, we will burn out at some point. But the evidence is that most people have unique combinations of these. Tell me about, would you allow me to coach you live to discover more about one of your gifts?
Yeah, go on.
You sure?
Yeah,
I promise you, nothing bad.
it's gonna be fun.
Tell me, one of the ways we discover these, there's 2 ways we discover these gifts. One is we can read about the gifts and we go, I think I'm this.
Mm-hmm.
Often that leaves us with questions. Is that really my gift? But I also think I'm this gift. Am I both? Am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a test, and I think that's helpful. And I think we should do both of those. The third
Mm-hmm.
way is when we begin to identify those times in our life when we were flowing in our gift.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that by looking at times when we were involved in a work or activity
Mm-hmm.
that we really enjoyed,
Mm-hmm.
we looked forward to doing, felt energized afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and would probably like, if we could do it, get paid to do it, we'd probably do it again. And when we identify these times, we have a level of proof of us in our gift.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for you, Almudena, is tell me about a time in your life when you're involved in a work or activity in which you enjoyed, looked forward to,
Mm-hmm.
and felt energized afterwards. What begins to come to mind?
I mean, there's 2 scenarios that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is while I'm coaching, because I always ended up more energized. So that's one of them. And the other one is when I'm creating something, because it can be even my website, right? My website, a new design, drawing, it's like something like that. It will just give me more energy, and time will pass and it will be like, oh, it's already like 3 hours past, and like it felt like 5 minutes. So I would say creating things and coaching.
So tell me about a time. So let's take this big statement of coaching
Hmm.
and see if you could just drill it down to a time when you were working with someone
Hmm.
and tell me about that. Obviously, honor the confidentiality of your client.
I mean, sometimes it feels like when I'm talking about, the thing is like I do variety of things. So it's not just when I'm coaching, like sometimes when I'm sharing with them the information that I have and I ask them questions, like just by being in a conversation, it feels like time just passes by, and you end up being really energized with it. So it's no like I think a couple of years ago was like I would love to get paid just by talking with someone and inspire them and uplifting them because somehow it's finding their purpose, their passion on life. Like when you can feel someone that they have that light in their eyes, that they get that spark and they're just talking to you about something that they are passionate about, that gives me really much um energy and joy. And it's like but I can just be talking with someone, not about the typical things like the weather or things like that that just bore, but deep, meaningful things that they care about. That is actually amazing. They get inspired.
Thank
They
you.
just talk about things. So yeah.
And one follow-up question.
Hmm.
Are there certain types of clients or problems that energize you more than others?
Yeah. Always. Like talking about relationships, about life, and things that they're getting inspired by. Those ones, I would say.
Mm,
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you.
Mhm.
I can imagine you're a great coach. I really can.
Well, thank you.
So I appreciate I asked you 1.5 questions,
Hmm.
and to do it justice, we would spend more time on this.
Yeah.
And when I'm coaching with clients, I often encourage them to go away and identify 7 times
Hmm.
in their life when they are in this flow.
Hmm.
Because one can be a fluke,
Hmm.
7 is a pattern.
Yeah.
Um, but with 25 years experience of this, I, I I can sense things and see things. Um, so what I heard in that was 3 strong gifts
Hmm.
and a fourth gift underpinning it.
Hmm.
We would need to spend more time to put those in order, but often
Hmm.
that's not really necessary.
Hmm.
So you started off by saying I love about the sense you love to share things with people. You
Hmm.
love to talk to them, share with the things you've learned. And I think there's evidence to suggest there this motivational gift of teaching to to go through life learning about things, but I think there's a motivation in there to learn about things that help you to be able to offer solutions to people about very specific things.
Yeah.
But I imagine within that you have this ability to learn, but you have this ability to synthesize, to go, yes, okay, so I've learned all about this, but these 2 or 3 things are the things that if I share that with the client right now, is going to create the greatest breakthrough for them. You then,
Hmm.
but it's like you've gone through life just loving learning in all its formats. It was like Google was made for people like you and I. We just learn these things and but I sense with you, the gift is so high with you. You could even stand on the London Underground and just see a poster about something, and instantly there you would take away something from that that you would be able to teach somebody that would bring about change in their life. And
Hmm.
part of that flows from that second gift, which is the gift of perception, that intuitive nature that as you're beginning to, as you listen to people, you're able to see behind the veil, to have an intuitive sense and understanding of what's really going on for someone, but without any judgment.
Hmm.
Okay, I hear this, but I sense this.
Oh, the sound has gone. I couldn't hear you. I don't know if it's your sound, it's my internet.
I'm also can't hear, so. No, we can't hear.
Nothing.
I don't know what to say. My
There you go.
Now
Now
it's
we can hear
okay.
you.
my internet connection is unstable. Well, okay. Wave again if it happens to me. So we were talking about that gift of perception, that your
Mhm.
ability to intuit what is really going on, to hear, to see, to sense, and to receive guidance from whatever language works for you on that, but that sense of divine source, you have to do that. And so as these gifts work together, so as you see that poster, as you see that meme, as you see that thing,
You're gone again. There's a message that doesn't have to come through. It seems like it.
yeah,
Now you're back.
now I'm back. It's bizarre because it's showing that I'm at full strength on my internet. So, okay. And then this third gift of encouragement, which is the ability to help people with their psychological needs, to be able to communicate what you've perceived, what you've understood, and share it in such a way that it helps and makes sense for people. And so we see these three gifts. A
Out
unique,
again. No,
sorry?
you're back. You're in and out all the time. But just
Yeah.
continue.
Okay. We see this unique ability that you're called to work with people to help them understand and come to a place of appreciation of their unique wholeness, their gifts and callings, their purpose, to help them unlock their psychology to be able to move forward. And the way your gifts work is that you're able to, through the gift of perception, to be able to understand what's really going on. Through the gift of teaching, to be able to draw on that storehouse of knowledge, synthesize it. Okay, they need these three things. And through the gift of encouragement, to be able to share it in such a way that people feel empowered to take action.
Mhm.
So the key in that is we need to explore that, but I could see you using colors, cards, doing workshops, using objects, bringing in immense creativity that will enhance your ability even further.
Mhm. Yeah, that's part of the
What if
path.
that lands with you?
I mean, I can see that happening just because I've been always quite artistic. I love cooking, so I love people getting into their own perception of what is good for them. I'm into learning a new technique that is related to creating new neural paths in your brain just by dissolving the situation without having to even talk to someone. So that's even better. And that involves colors and lines and just drawing. Mm, yeah, like it will evolve at some point, everything that I'm doing. So little by little, step by step. Next thing,
Yes,
a center. Let's get into the right steps first.
yes. So there is a sense that you are here for a reason.
Yes.
There is a
Mm,
purpose.
I mean, I believe that since I was 6 years old. I believe that I was telling some of my friends at the school, like, I think that I'm here for something big, but I don't know exactly what.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, there is that sense, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Me too. I can just imagine it. I can visualize it, but like, okay, I want it to be there now. But it's little by little, step by step, releasing and taking away some of the conditioning to be able to get there faster as well.
And if you were to describe that purpose, what comes to mind as
I mean, half of it has been cut, so I'm gonna say what I believe that you asked. So basically, what I think I'm here for is to help people to love themselves again and live their life according to who they are, accept themselves, and live the things that they are passionate about.
I love that. Help people to learn to love themselves
Mm-hmm.
and lead lives around what they're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The world needs your passion.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yulia, Natalia, which of the 7 gifts did you feel connected to?
I don't know. I don't know. I definitely love listening to children. For me, this is the chance, like to hear, to touch to their universe, and to learn from them. I see that they have their like undisturbed, and they are much more connected to their souls and to their hearts. So being with them and listening to them, gives me lots of energy from one point. But at the same time, you see, I have 4 children at home, and I and I see how it's really challenging and demanding at the same time, to serve them as well. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what way to go.
Thank you. 2 things. My internet connection is unstable again. Am I coming through?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. A couple of things were coming through there. One was the strong gift of perception, that intuitive ability to see, hear, to feel, and perceive that which isn't being spoken. The gift of perception is highly motivated to minister to people's spiritual needs. That sense of being loved and accepted, to understand that you are whole, that you are perfect as you are. And people that are highly attuned on this gift that understand often the way to that is through the heart. And so your desire to help children connect with their heart is just amazing. I think there is this gift of compassion about you, this desire to come alongside people. And it's interesting, the gift of compassion and the gift of perception are the two most wounded of the 7 gifts. People who have the gift of compassion and the gift of perception will have wounds, they will have been hurt, because they're so open emotionally and they're so open spiritually, because they have to be, that often through the words and actions of others, they get wounded.
Mm.
But those wounds become their lived experience. And when they become healed, they are able to minister to others at a greater depth than they ever thought possible. So Al-Medina talked about part of her purpose is to help people believe and know that they're loved and accepted. And I hope she doesn't mind me saying this. I'm sure if we tracked her life story back, we would find a time when she didn't feel that herself.
Mm-hmm.
But she's gone through that battle. She's fought that and learned to love and accept herself. And so her gifts and her lived experience come together so powerfully that she no longer has a message of love and acceptance. She is the message. And you can see that all over her face. Here is a woman who loves and accepts herself, who knows her value and her worth. And because of that, there is power just through her presence, because you know you are next to someone that walks the talk.
Mm.
I hope you didn't mind me saying that. And so this is part of your journey as well. The thing that's intuitively coming through for me, Natalia, is that you are a messenger. And messengers often are pioneers. They often go to people and places and say things that people haven't heard before. They say the things that need to be said. They challenge the status quo. And I know there is something deep within you of wanting to see the education systems of the world changed. And I think you have a message to bring in that and to pioneer new things.
Thank you.
I think there is also something coming through to me that you have been going. I'll talk to you personally about that, because I'm aware this call is being recorded, and I haven't got your permission to say what I'm about to say, but we will chat about it later. But I'm excited for you, and I think the children of the world need you. Come on, Julia. Which of the gifts spoke to you?
Okay, it's interesting because I also was thinking about like teaching, but the point about like quickly synthesizing a short idea, something, is for sure not about me. And so like I like learning something new and like sharing these ideas and information. But yeah, this is, like to find, I mean, yeah, I can see some idea, but I am from that students who also was on lectures was writing like everything word by word, because I was afraid that I will miss something. So this is, like about this synthesizing a quick idea. So I think that I have some seeds of perception, but you know, that I'm often say about that I still need to reconnect with my intuition. So I'm not always with like a deep trust to that. So, also I have a kind of administration, but probably not on this period of my life, because I also wrote you that I'm trying to return some how to say, yeah, so to make less chaotic my life. So that's why it's not so strong for now. But yeah, so basically I have it for sure. And so for now, probably I think the main what is talking to me is encouragement. I hope so, at least. So this is something what I feel. And for sure not giving and not serving. So creativity and yeah, not my strong part.
Thank you.
But probably, you know, at some point, creating ideas, it's still about that. So, so a bit, maybe, at some point.
So thank you. So with the gift of teaching, there are those two parts. There is the researching, and then there is the synthesizing. And so at this stage, we understand you are stronger on the researching part, that ability to consume information, data, to make sense of it. The gift of administration has a motivation, a vocational preference to work with people or to manage people, information, or tasks. So it may be that teaching and administration go well together. You're able to consume that large amounts of information and then to be able to coordinate it, to be able to manage it effectively. I think it's interesting with that gift of encouragement, some of the conversations we've had about work that you might like to explore and do is around working with people. It's meeting their psychological needs, and it's the ability to communicate. So we do see a thread that goes through those gifts, that ability to understand information and data, to be able to structure it in such a way, and then to be able to communicate it to people. And often the greatest teachers are those with the gift of exaltation, not the gift of teaching. And because it's that ability to communicate those ideas. So I think you are awakening to the depth of those gifts. And so my encouragement to you would be to find something you can involve yourself with that brings those. Have I disappeared again?
No,
that brings those three things, that ability to pick a problem, maybe a psychological problem, to then be able to understand the problem, you know, maybe understand some of the literature in that particularly, and then to be able to maybe even create a course. You don't have to do it on your own. You can bring synthesizers in with you who are able to look at this and say, well, maybe if we just made this shorter or made this bigger, but to be able to pick a problem that the people you maybe feel inspired to help at this point in your life, think of one of the challenges they have, go away, research, understand it, read some of the literature on your own or with a synthesizer, begin to turn that into a course and then run a pilot to teach it. And I think the word pilot would be key for you, because I think you'd feel uncomfortable showing up as the expert, but to be able to say, look, in my understanding, here's the course and I'd like to pilot it. And then we can test it and we can take it and put it back in. And I don't know, but I feel that might be a key for you, that unlock these gifts and opens a door for you at this time.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I am going to turn off the recording. Oh, wrong button.